apparently. Okay, so, right, something a little different. It's basically just a chat. Sam's here. How are you, Sam?
I'm doing good, Ollie. Yourself?
Yeah, and the visuals aren't really important. I'm just going to be driving around a racetrack somewhere in Scotland, apparently, in VR. But we're here to talk about wrestling.
Well, yeah, I should probably also point out that this isn't going to be just a regular thing, just a replacement for the normal Let's Plays we do. This is just a little something fun to do since we've just come off of Hellblade.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a bit shorter. Depends on how long we go on talking. We're just playing with a format at the moment. But
Oh yeah.
I think Sam can see any comments if you want to get onto the broadcast.
Oh yeah. I can see the comments if there is any.
And I can hear them, I think, through the headset. I've configured that. So if anyone watching wants to chime in, feel free to do that. So Sam, what did you think of SummerSlam? Let's talk about that.
Honestly, I'm going to be that guy and say it's nowhere near as good as, Takeover was, but it was actually one of the better shows. I will say, however, considering WWE shows tend to be, if I was on a grading scale, usually they're on a C grade or a D grade. This one was going to be a B grade, but the main event put it into an A grade.
Well, I don't think I would even have called the rest of the show a B grade, to be honest with you. You're being kinder to the undercard than I would be. But,
Well, let's be fair.
Proof be needed that as long as you stick the main event, as Adam Blompier said, I'm going to paraphrase him here because I agree, you can put whatever crap you want on the undercard as long as you stick the main event.
Hey, WrestleMania 12 was pretty much proof of that.
Yeah, and it was a great main event. But the rest of it...
Granted, it hasn't aged well, but, not a lot of matches do. But I will say this for SummerSlam. I did think the women's title thing, oddly, I'm going to be one of those guys. I thought the Natalya-Naomi match was better than anyone was ever going to, give it credit for. It was definitely better than the Sasha-Alexa Bliss match.
Well, it was a good match. I don't know about better than Sasha and Alexa Bliss. I don't remember, to be honest.
I will be going on there only because Natalya's match was actually, considering Naomi has been a bore throughout her entire run with the women's title, she really hasn't been that interesting, to be honest. It's been more about
I like Naomi.
I like her as well. It's just she's not really been that interesting as a champion. And Natalya has really just been a background character for so many years at this point. It was nice to... I mean, I will give Naomi credit. The reversal she did for the sharpshooter was pretty good and everything. But for Natalya to win, it was definitely... It feels like it's leading into something eventually. Like, it's either going to be like she's going to be the person to be cashed in on by Carmella at some point. But, that obviously didn't happen.
Yeah.
Or it's a thank you because Tyson Kidd's got injured, her husband's basically been injured working for WWE.
Yeah, how's he doing on that, by the way? Do you know?
I think, I don't remember. I remember hearing there was some news a while back, something about he was getting some new job within WWE, but I'm not really sure. I don't think he's going to be coming back as an active competitor. We'll see.
Right.
But I think that Natalya thing was just, given to us solely to say thank you for being with the company for so long and putting up with all the crap we've put you through, because they have put Natalya through so much crap.
She's definitely earned it.
Oh, yeah. And Naomi, to be fair, Naomi really wasn't lighting the world on fire as the women's champion. She didn't live up to any of the hype that was put on her, to be honest. No insult to her ability. Naomi was one of the better, was definitely the better one out of the two of the Funkadactyls. But she really hasn't done much of anything. Now, that could be put down to a lot of booking, but ultimately she's really just not carried the championship well.
No, I think she deserved it because she has been one of the most underutilized talents for a long time, since before they even thought of #giving divas a chance.
Oh yeah, I agree that she's definitely got the ability. It's just she hasn't. When you get the title, I think there's some degree. When you get a championship, what makes the championship so great is not the belt itself, but how you carry it. And ultimately, she wasn't really when compared to, like, say, Alexa Bliss or Becky Lynch. She really hasn't done. She's definitely the weaker of the three. I mean,
I suppose.
Becky and Alexa have both got the personality. I mean, to
I'm
be
probably
fair,
just
the only
blinded by the fact that I'd wanted her to do well because she was good back when there weren't very many good people.
yeah. I mean, the only problem I had with the Sasha Banks Alexa Bliss match was just the way it ended. Just the way, not in because of who won. It was just the way it was executed to me.
Remind me?
Just the whole, oh shit. Well, if I remember correctly, I mean, anyone can correct me here if I'm wrong. Alexa went to do one of her finishes off the top rope. She missed. She did Christian's whole. Remember when Christian used to try and pin people, and when he lost, he'd throw a tantrum like a 5-year-old and start thrashing?
Yeah.
She just started randomly thrashing and throwing a tantrum and screaming. Then she got up, got hit with a bank statement. She broke out of it. She got out. The submission got broke, and so she got out of it. And then instantly, Sasha just reapplied it again with no momentum, and then Alexa just tapped out.
Right.
It's just there was no build-up towards that end. It was just apply submission. It's as if it was like she'd tapped out the first time, it would have meant something more. But the fact that she got out of it, and then there was like a long pause, and then suddenly she's put back in it instantly with no fighting it or anything, and then just instantly taps straight out. It just loses some of its luster.
Oddly enough, I don't remember that, but I don't know.
Okay. Okay, and the other stuff, the US title match.
Yeah, it was good.
Fair, considering the Kevin Owens and AJ Styles feud has really not delivered on what everyone thought it would. It was pretty damn good.
I think both of them are better than they're being, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. The John Cena Baron Corbin match, if there is, I'm just going to quote Dave Meltzer here, if there was ever proof that Baron Corbin is being punished for being a cunt, and I'm sorry for that word, I'll rephrase that, for being an asshole, then this is it. I don't think it's so much that he's being an asshole, because he's just playing his character effectively on Twitter, which is fine, because Kevin Owens does that, and he's brilliant on Twitter. But it's the fact that he was attacking certain people, and it turned out those certain people were people that you're not supposed to, insult.
Right.
Yeah, he basically backpedaled on everything he said. He basically insulted some Marine or some military guy, calling him a loser, saying he never did anything worthwhile with his life, and then this guy flat out shows a picture of him as part of the Tribute to the Troops thing, and Vince McMahon himself meeting him and giving that platoon something, which Corbin's obviously like, oh shit, I shouldn't do that. Then him getting owned by Dave Meltzer, I think that also ruined his image as well, when he said, what does Dave Meltzer know? He's an old man who has never laced up a pair of boots. What right does he have to judge wrestlers on anything? And then Dave Meltzer responding with, well, by that logic, your boss never wrestled until 1999, so he had no right to say anything about professional wrestling in the 1980s.
Yeah. Well, not knowing who Dave Meltzer is,
I'm sure he probably knows who Dave Meltzer is. It's just he started mouthing at him, not realizing Dave Meltzer isn't as stupid as him.
Right. Okay, he done goofed. He done goofed.
Well, from my understanding, he didn't have a lot of support backstage to begin with. I mean, this is the thing people forget. Corbin was in NXT, but he was a nobody in NXT. And I don't care if he somehow hears this and has a problem. He was a jobber in NXT for years. He was getting his ass kicked by literally everybody. Then when he started doing his lone wolf crap, I don't know what gimmick he's actually meant to be. If he's meant to be... I honestly look at him and I start thinking... When I used your WWE Network account to watch the old WCW stuff, I think I was showing Liz some old WCW
We're not
guys.
supposed to admit that I let you do that.
Oh, what are they going to do? Send Triple H over and go, I am not amused. But anyway, for all they know, I was doing it at your house.
Oh yeah, you were,
Which is
weren't you?
not illegal. Exactly. Wink, wink. Anyway, while I was there, I was looking at... I think I was trying to show Liz some WCW, so I was trying to show her the Great Muta. And he was in a match against Vampiro. So anyone who knows how ridiculous Vampiro looked, and he looks like one of Vampiro's minions. He dresses like one of Vampiro's throwaway minions.
Right.
And if you remember his track record in NXT, he lost to Austin Aries on Aries' debut, I think. I could be wrong. But he lost to Austin Aries, he lost to Samoa Joe, and he jobbed to Rhino.
Right.
He really didn't have a good track record in NXT. Then he comes up to SmackDown. He's, given the Andre the Giant Battle Royal push, which was honestly ridiculous to begin with.
They had him coast on that for way too long.
The thing is, it means nothing because, you see...
Another Andre the Giant Battle Royal went by before he had another accomplishment to his name.
Well, it's not just that. It's not like it's an accomplishment. It doesn't really do anything. I mean, it's not like the King... I mean, the King of the Ring, it meant something until the recent years. A title is only as valuable as the person who holds it, and it's what they do with it after that. Because keep in mind, the King of the Ring itself was around for years. I mean, Bret Hart was a King of the Ring, but they never mention it until Harley Race won the King of the Ring, and then he used it as part of his gimmick.
Yeah.
And that's when and Kurt Angle did it. Everyone did something with it. But ultimately, no one who's won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal has really done anything with it. I mean, the Big Show and Cesaro never did anything with their wins.
Right. Yeah,
So
well, that's not really their fault, is it?
It isn't their fault, but it doesn't do anything to help the thing. It's like introducing a belt called, it's like introducing a belt called, I don't know, a mid-cut, let's just call it a mid-card title. Let's just say they introduce a TV title to WWE.
Right.
But it's only ever held by 3 people over the course of 4 years.
Right.
And neither of those guys have good matches, none of those guys have good matches, or they're not used correctly, or it's associated with those negative gimmicks. It does nothing for them.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to segue into a joke about the Universal title there, but...
Well, the Universal title, I can't. It's the anniversary of its existence. I want to remind you of that.
Yeah, I know. It's been around for a full year.
Here's the thing, and how many champions have held it?
Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar.
4 people, 2 of them part-timers.
Yeah.
Here's the issue.
You know what the thing that pisses me off about SummerSlam? Like, just to get off, just to segue into something else.
Yeah.
They had Neville win back his Cruiserweight title, and it's like, why the fuck did they have him lose it in the first place?
I did have it, and that's pointless. But honestly, what I was telling Liz earlier today, which I honestly thought was really bad about the whole John Cena beating Corbin and proof that WWE don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Cena has been advertised for Raw, that he's permanently going to Raw from now on. He's not going to be back on SmackDown again at this point. He's going to always be on Raw.
Right.
Which means Cena not only stops the cash-in, he beat Corbin, meaning Corbin cannot get his revenge on Cena unless they do a storyline during the next Superstar shake-up or draft or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's on the same show as Cena. He's not going to get his revenge for this. He has been squashed, and let's call it that what it was. It was a squash and humiliation of Baron Corbin.
It was indeed.
By John Cena. Keep in mind, Cena lost clean to Shinsuke Nakamura, a guy who Corbin was working with not too long ago.
Yeah.
So that's Corbin done. And that was the opener. How long's it been since you've seen Cena in an opener at a pay-per-view?
I have to admit, it's been a while.
He's won at SummerSlam, and he actually won at SummerSlam for the first time in a few years. That's something for Cena.
I don't
Moving on to Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was going to try and remember the last time he did. I remember him beating Randy Orton before his first WWE title, but that couldn't have been the last time he won at SummerSlam.
I don't know. He lost it. Well, let's see. No, I think but the last time he won, he beat the Nexus.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I must have repressed that.
Yeah, I think we all repressed that. But yeah, see, big match asshole John wins that one. And to be fair, Corbin, I'm usually the first one to jump on Cena's case and go, fuck you, fuck him. This is him pulling his position of power again because he's notorious for that. But this time, Corbin deserved it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's an ego check, really. It's a literal, look, you don't have the pull to get away with shit like this, and you needed to be reined in. And to be honest, if you've looked at any WWE superstars' Twitter, sometimes, especially him and Lana, definitely need to be pulled in because they make themselves look like idiots online, and that can ruin your push. But moving on to something a bit more pleasant, yay, getting the title. I like Cesaro and Sheamus' little pairing only because I like Cesaro and it made Sheamus tolerable. I don't understand why they're wearing kilts, since neither of them are from countries where the kilt is, a thing.
I just like that the whole fusion pose thing from Dragon Ball Z caught on.
Although I will give Cesaro this, he killed the beach ball.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
His Cesaro's father was killed by an angry beach ball in the 1930s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Cesaro had every right to kill that beach ball.
Wait, his father?
Yeah, his father was killed by a freak beach ball accident. It's a repressed memory.
In the 1930s? How old is Cesaro?
I don't know. Maybe he's a time traveler, or maybe he swung so fast that he sped up time.
Maybe.
Don't worry, Dad. I'll use your corpse as a clock. Ah! It's okay. Okay, but moving hastily on. Dean and Seth. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. I like Dean and Seth.
Yeah.
I like them.
So do I.
I like Seth more than I like Dean. And to be fair, out of all the Shield members, the only person who has not been a massive, colossal failure has been Seth. Because all Seth's failings can be put down to his pure booking, sometimes, and injuries. Roman's is down to the fans just not buying what WWE is selling, and Dean's is just down to he's not really as interesting as... he's trying to play a brand of crazy that ultimately feels manufactured.
Right.
This isn't Brian Pillman pulling a gun on Steve Austin because he's crazy. Or trying to steal Goldust's wife kind of crazy. This is just... the script demands I act crazy, so I do it.
Right. Well,
He comes across as someone who does not give a single shit about what he's doing.
it's WWE's writing, though. They seem to think crazy and stupid are the same thing.
Well, yeah, that's all Dean really is. So really, I think Seth has already had a main event run. So, Seth could literally leap in between the main event and the mid-card whenever he wants. I think he could easily transition between them. Dean has basically had his main event run. He flopped horribly, worse than Roman Reigns did.
Mm.
I am still sticking with that, regardless of what you think. I still say that Dean had the worst title run out of the three. But so, Dean really needed something to do other than fight The Miz every month.
Yes, this is true.
So, I think doing a Shield reunion thing, but not a full one, was a good idea. Also, I loved Seth's new tights.
What, the red ones?
The red and black ones, they actually worked for this one. And just the whole reunion of the two, because when you think about it, when the Shield were a tag team, you never really saw Dean and Seth team up. It was always Seth and Roman. Dean was actually the singles guy.
Well,
So for them to beat Sheamus and Cesaro, I think it's fine, considering that, Sheamus and Cesaro, they're good, and it's definitely giving Cesaro and Sheamus something to do, but ultimately, they aren't... it was okay for them to lose the belts. I think they can survive losing them. Kind
Yeah,
of like
'cause
they've lost nothing.
they're a pretty good
I'm
tag
not,
team. I would
yeah,
never
I'm
would
not
have
saying.
thought it.
Yeah, I know. I would have put. I know. It sounds like I was going to transition to no, they're crap. They deserve to lose the titles. No, they could survive without those belts. So they passed them to Dean and Seth, who really don't need the title belts. They could have lost and just gone their own separate ways and done their own thing. But it was a good thing to give the titles a little bit more prestige. That's giving prestige right.
Right.
Now, then moving on to the Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt match. Let's just call that what it was.
Oh, just to say, the general consensus seems to be that at some point Dean will turn on Seth because he's like.
If it happens, it happens. Because Seth and Dean, remember the first time they feuded, it worked. They do have chemistry. They can work together.
Yeah. And Dean hasn't really been heel since his original Shield days, so.
Yeah, so it's okay.
Could inject some new life into his character.
It could. But moving hastily on to let's just get this one out of the way because it's quick. Randy Orton versus Rusev.
Oh god, that was quick, wasn't it?
Was that a match? I don't know what that was because it was literally.
Has Rusev pissed someone off? Because
maybe. I don't know. I know that Vince doesn't like him and Lana being together. I know generally the consensus is that everybody hates Lana legitimately.
Right.
And you know that spouses can fuck things up. It's basically, last I heard of Lana, they are giving her the Eva Marie gimmick.
Right.
That's her entire excuse for why she's shit, basically. But you've been around long enough to see what happened when John Morrison and his girlfriend fucked things up, and when, when.
Sorry, excuse me.
Tomorrow at 10, so.
Okay.
Be up and be ready.
All right.
Okay, you back? Oh.
Okay. Sorry about that, Sam.
Yeah, okay, you're back?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so, and also the Matt Hardy situation, so spouses can ruin your thing, so that's possibly it, or it could just be that they don't know what to do with Rusev. Because, say what you want about John Cena at least gave him a competitive match.
Right.
Rusev just got literally hit with an RKO out of nowhere. That was it. It was done. And to be fair, Randy's in one of those positions in his career where he really doesn't need to beat people.
No, not really.
And the Finn Balor Bray thing, honestly, I think WWE have forgotten how to book monsters or creepy people.
WWE have forgotten how to book everything except The Miz, in my opinion.
I know. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to that, well, we're not talking about the pre-show where The Miz actually won. That was a thing, to say the least. But the thing is, a monster heel is less terrifying when they keep losing. And Bray Wyatt is the eater of pins.
Yeah.
But to be fair, he beat Finn Balor on Raw, which was a thing, but we basically get the same match again on the pay-per-view, but we get the face paint and the entire change in character, so I guess it works. But I liked the psychology of, Bray having, his old theme playing in a creepy way, which has actually redeemed the song In Lizzie's Eyes in some way.
Right.
The Whole World in His Hands song. And then when Bray does the crab walk backwards and then Finn just jumps up, roars and looks him in the eye and Bray's just like, what the fuck? like in a state of disbelief where he suddenly lost himself and he's no longer this crazy cult leader who can speak to his dead sister. He's just Husky Harris for 5 seconds before being hit with, hit with Finn Balor's comeback, and that's that.
Right.
Yeah. So that's really all there is to say about it. It was a good match between Finn and Bray. Obviously, it was the calm down period, to be honest. It was the cool down match between everything that had happened before.
Right.
The WWE title match.
Oh God.
I think it was good it was a good match until the finish.
It wasn't even a convincing use of the move. I mean, Jinder retained the same way he always retains, and it looked like he botched it. Maybe it was the camera angle, but it looked like he botched it.
The problem with Jinder, let's be brutally honest with Jinder, and I don't hate Jinder Mahal, I just want to throw that out there. I just think Jinder was taken from being a jobber every week, because keep in mind, he was just hired back during the brand split, he just turned up one day on Raw, spent his time teaming with Rusev and jobbing to everybody.
Right.
And then he goes straight to SmackDown, where he becomes the WWE Champion, pinning Randy Orton.
Right.
He just goes from that. He's been because it's difficult to it's like say I'm trying to think. It's like Gilbert spending an entire year getting beaten up because that's his job.
You don't have to explain this to me, Sam. I know perfectly well what you're talking about.
I know, but it's for an audience. But it's for an audience of whatever we have. But it's like that. But then Gilbert suddenly has, I don't know, the Blue Meanie and someone else come out and help him win, and suddenly he's beating people like Steve Austin and The Rock. But the thing is, they didn't throw away the whole, oh look, he's beaten Shinsuke Nakamura, now Nakamura's never going to get another match.
Yeah.
Because they've continued the feud on SmackDown, so that's a thing. And they've put it down to the fact that they've acknowledged Jinder only ever wins by using the Singh brothers. Who, quite frankly, honestly, this may sound wrong, but they don't look like they belong there. They look out of place, like someone hired a bunch of Oompa Loompas.
Oh, God.
I know. So, ultimately, the match between the two was okay. And Jinder really needs to get a few wins legitimately on his own to, appear strong. Because if he keeps winning only because of the outside interference, it damages him. And ultimately damages his opponent wins. Because the guy who does finally beat him, it's going to be like, well, you didn't beat anyone who, was tough. You just happened to overcome him fucking around and, using underhanded means to win. He was never really a threat.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, they needed to make Jinder an actual threat. But moving on to a main event where things actually worked out.
Yeah.
Oh god, the Fatal 4-Way.
Braun Strowman, man.
Okay. Joe is the same as Seth Rollins, can transition between main event and the main show. He's already shown he can hang with Brock Lesnar if need be.
Yeah.
Roman was the only one who felt out of place in that whole thing, but that's mainly because at this point it's become the whole roll eyes sigh, oh great, he's in this match kind of thing.
Right.
But Braun Strowman was the star of that match. Brock may have won, but Braun, oh god, because that's the thing. Brock Lesnar still has that whole I broke the Undertaker streak thing.
Yeah.
He's also had the whole I killed John Cena effectively. He's got that to his name.
He's also got
that high status.
He's also got the I went through the security barricade and 3 announce tables and was taken out of the match and still won it thing from SummerSlam.
But that's the thing. I know, but before that last bit, he was literally like the closest thing WWE had to a legitimate tough guy. Braun has come off, beating Roman Reigns clean twice.
Yeah.
And even before Raw, It was one of the first, on the Raw
Being
before
on the receiving
SummerSlam.
end of attempted vehicular homicide with a truck and walking away from it.
Yeah, there is that. But here's the thing: think about it, on the main event, on the Raw before SummerSlam, Roman Reigns wasn't the focus of the program. Samoa Joe wasn't. It was literally Braun and Brock. And to have Braun Strowman manhandle Brock Lesnar, because that's the thing, Brock Lesnar very rarely gets manhandled. I mean, the guy takes punches and moves from Roman Reigns and just sits up as if he's just been brushed by the wind.
Yeah, I remember that WrestleMania a couple of years ago.
But he takes a power slam from Braun and he can't stand up. And this is the same Braun Strowman who Brock Lesnar destroyed 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's another thing you need to remember, is it's not that long ago Braun Strowman was just a member of the Wyatt family that got murdered by Brock. He's become the official, baby face of Raw.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, Brock Lesnar's pretty babyface at the moment.
Brock is babyface only because the people they put him against haven't really got the support of the fans. I mean, the only opponent he's had in a while who's actually because let's face it, Brock doesn't wrestle that much.
Yeah, he's still really over though. I actually think that's been a good call though, to not have him wrestle that much.
They're doing the Andre the Giant thing of just making him an attraction.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I do think it's done some damage to the Universal title.
I don't think it has. I think it's
I think it not being on the show as much and not being a focus, especially with it being as young as it isn't doing it as many favours. I mean, granted, I think that I'm just going to be that guy and just say that Roman Reigns winning it at WrestleMania. If he's going to win it at WrestleMania from Brock,
he is.
I know he is, but if they're going to do this, they can't do anything to increase Roman's value at this point. They could have him beat John Cena clean like Nakamura did.
Roman Reigns' value is not in question. It's his reaction with the fans that's never going to change. Well,
yeah, there's that, but he's just never going to be considered a valuable commodity to the fans. I mean, the guy is not a bigger star as WWE wants him to be. He's not the merch seller that they want him to be. I mean, there's conflicting reports of them saying, his shirts sell and everything, but he isn't selling enough. He's not selling out arenas. I mean, Dean Ambrose was actually selling out arenas when he was on SmackDown, and when Roman was the main face of Raw and he was main eventing all the house shows could barely fill the building. They were actually empty for most of it. He doesn't have the fan base they think he does. And
they want him to.
Well, look, no amount... And the thing is, they will push him up as much as they can. Michael Hayes will really try and push him up, but ultimately, he's not a star. He's not a main event draw.
Audiences aren't buying into him because they know they don't need to. What's going to happen is going to happen regardless of what the fans think. So why would we think what they want us to think?
I mean, let's face it, it's a no-brainer that Braun Strowman as the Universal Champion would be a big-ass thing.
It's not going to happen, but it would be great.
Well, I think it will be inevitable that in the future, at some point, he will become a world champion. I think it will happen. I just think that he'll be a transition. The worst-case scenario is he'll be a transitional champion.
Yeah, but he is definitely over enough.
Yeah, I think they'll basically treat him like they did with Mick Foley, where they gave Mick the title, but it was literally just to give it to someone else. Well, that's what they did, because apparently in the past Steve Austin refused to lose the title to Triple H because he didn't consider Triple H a main guy. So in a triple threat match, what they did was they had Mick Foley beat Stone Cold in Triple H, and then the next night on Raw, they had Mankind lose the belt to Triple H, just to give it to him.
Oh, someone asked on the comments, I couldn't see who, how many times have you crashed already? Yeah, I'm not really concentrating on the driving, the visuals are just while we're talking about wrestling.
That's Jack.
Oh, hello.
But So that's SummerSlam, but let's move on to a more positive pay-per-view, Takeover.
Ah, yes. Or more
So-
effectively move backwards.
Yeah, effectively move backward. Okay, right. First match on the card was Sanity versus the Authors of Pain.
Good match. Good match.
Who did you think it
Honestly,
was?
again, I'm probably going to be in the minority here, but I really don't like the Authors of Pain. I can't remember.
They're all right.
I can't remember their names most of the time. Paul Ellering has really, really, really not helped them. Oh shit, we forgot one match at SummerSlam. I can't believe I forgot one.
Go on.
Enzo in the shark cage for the Cass versus Big Show match.
Oh,
Neither
that was
do I.
just...
Meh.
As a novelty, it was fine, but...
Pointless.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't catch that last comment, but the next one, who did you think it was? I don't like to make assumptions.
But the Authors of Pain, honestly, they just don't have any personality. It's hard to tell them apart, really. The only way I can tell them apart is it's not even a Jimmy and Jey Uso issue. It's just a matter of they're so bland and boring as characters.
Yeah.
So they got beat. So if you remember the match, Sanity come out and we're led to believe it's going to be Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane, Big Damo,
Right.
versus the Authors of Pain. But I don't know how wrestling rules actually work on this. But Killian Dane, instead, while he was on the apron, he jumped down and Eric Young replaced him for reasons. I think they treated it as it was a mind game thing. Anyway, long story short, the Authors of Pain lose. Alexander Wolf and Eric Young become the new NXT Tag Team Champions, although I'm sure they'll use Freebird rules
Yeah.
to give it to whoever. And Alexander Wolf becomes the first German champion in WWE history.
Yeah.
So
cool.
there's that. Then Red Dragon jump in, which is Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah.
They beat up all of Sanity and even grab one of the Authors of Pain and kick the crap out of them. They hit the Way of the Dragon on, I think, Eric Young, and then leave.
To succeed, Paul.
And that's that. Then we had, I think, before that, we got Johnny Gargano versus Cien Almas or something with his new manager.
What
I
is
haven't been
even
keeping
with
up
that guy? Hold on just a second. Jack, I haven't approached him with it yet, no, but I will.
Right. So, basically, they basically given CN a new manager because if you the only stuff I've seen on NXT of him, he seems to lose every single match he's in.
Yeah, that I
But he's
have
been given that
noticed.
whole.
Okay.
He doesn't seem to give a shit that he basically loses every single week because he goes out partying. But this new manager is basically making sure he wins. So the match is pretty good. Is actually pretty damn good. Johnny Gargano has a good old-fashioned run. Everything's cool.
Right.
And then the finish of the match sees Cien's manager throw a DIY shirt in. They were playing off the whole, this is Johnny's first match since DIY broke up. He's distracted and then Cien hits a finisher, pins him, that's that. And, Cien gets his first win in God knows how long. And Johnny Gargano loses because he was distracted.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Then after that, we got Asuka versus Ember Moon.
No, shame about what happened to Asuka.
It is a shame that she's injured, but she's only going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, and NXT tape in advance. I mean, this week on NXT, we're having the UK tournament guys wrestle, so, that's a thing.
Yeah. Hopefully they won't strip Asuka of the title.
I don't know what's going on with that, because I think
she's got
they
too
haven't-
much behind her. It would
the
be
thing is, she's now officially the longest reigning champion in the longest reigning champion in NXT history.
Yeah.
She's beaten Goldberg's undefeated streak.
Yep. 500
in general.
Well, I don't know how many matches she's won, but it's in the hundreds, and she's never
Yeah.
lost in WWE.
And the thing is, for her to lose at this point, Ember really. The thing is that I don't know if you've noticed this. They've been trying to turn Asuka heel, and it isn't working because they love her because they know how special she is.
Yeah.
You can't. It's like how you can't turn the Undertaker heel in the modern day.
Oh, you couldn't turn Shawn Michaels heel towards the end of his career, because they tried like 20 times a year with him, didn't they?
Yeah, but the thing is, Asuka cannot be turned heel. The fans love her so much, and Ember's supposed to be going in as the face, and Ember's getting booed because the fans love Asuka too much.
I
Asuka, to be
heard
fair,
quite a
only did one
divided reaction, to be honest. There were a few Ember Moon fans in the crowd.
Oh yeah, there was definitely some cheers and all that. Her family were in the audience, from what I understand.
Yeah, but they're not going to make up that level of noise on the TV, are they?
No, she did get some cheers, but she was booed a lot more than, she should have been for the face going in.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want her to win, I must admit. I wanted Asuka's streak to endure.
To be fair, Ember is still sloppy in the ring, to be honest. She's not really ready to carry the thing the way that Asuka has, because Asuka is treated very specially by Triple H. I mean, this is the guy who pretty much said, take whoever you want from NXT, but leave Asuka. We need her. She is a massive thing for this show.
Yeah.
So Asuka winning, she won clean. She only did one heel thing in the entire thing, and that was the grabbing the tights.
Yeah.
And possibly the holding of the referee. But those were the only heel things she did, and the whole thing was built on Ember was the one person Asuka had to cheat to beat in any of their other encounters. Asuka beats her clean with the Asuka lock. That's that. Ember's beaten. The problem they're faced with now is, who do they have to face Asuka at this point?
Yeah.
That's the only downside, is there's no one left, because Peyton Royce and Billie Kay aren't considered enough of a threat. Ruby Riott is just new to the whole scene, and Nikki Cross is new to it as well, so they're not going to put the belt on there. And Ember's been beaten so decisively, and especially...
No, she's not getting another shot soon. Unless Asuka's out, in which case she might.
Yeah. She might get the Batista treatment and then just get the belt because Asuka isn't there. But that's about the only thing I can think they can do, because giving her a rematch at this point is pointless.
Right. Because...
Moving on, Aleister Black versus Hideo Itami.
Now, Hideo Itami was never going to win, was he?
No, but the thing is, I feel bad. They got Jim Ross to call this match. I think that says something about how... I think the only other star that William Regal is really supporting on NXT is Aleister. He really wants them to use Aleister Black seriously on the main roster when he goes up, so I think they're trying to build him up as something special. I mean, the fact they gave him a special entrance is definitely something.
Yeah.
But to have him, he did have a great match. He actually had the most competitive match he's had in NXT since turning up against Hideo Itami.
Right.
I mean, I feel bad. Itami did miss out on so much of NXT's strongest years due to his injuries. And he didn't get to grow and show off some of the stuff he could do, because he put on a great match with Bobby Roode at the last TakeOver. That was pretty good.
Right.
But, he's turned heel. He attacked his partner, Cassius Ohno. He's gone apeshit, and Aleister Black, actually, considering they're both strikers, it was actually a very good mesh of styles. And he did actually bust open Aleister Black at one point.
Right.
But, we got what we expected. Aleister Black wins with the Black Mass. He wins. That's another one for him. But I think Aleister could go through NXT, go to the main roster, and not have a title on his way through. I think he could be one of those people who doesn't actually get a title.
Right.
No, well, I don't think he needs it. Yeah, it's good enough that he could actually go on and he wouldn't need the prestige.
Being his own attraction, you might say.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That leads us to the main event, which was McIntyre versus Bobby Roode.
Yeah. Now, I
liked
now know why the result went the way it did. Not that I was disappointed with Drew McIntyre winning.
But to be fair, Bobby has a lot more to offer, and to be fair, NXT, we love it. It is one of the best things on, and while some people have called it pro wrestling gorilla with air conditioning, it is a small pond effectively.
Yeah.
But not a really small, crappy pond. It's a big-ass pond. It's a big pond, but, you know, you can't be there forever. And there's only so much... There's very little for you to actually do unless you're very special. I mean, you know, Finn Balor and Nakamura did some amazing stuff with the belt, with the NXT title. And Asuka's doing something amazing with the women's title, but...
Yeah. And I hope it continues. As far as I'm aware, they have not chosen to strip Asuka of the title. I hope it continues.
And also, if you notice, McIntyre actually is I think the first person to be a main roster guy and go back to NXT to become the NXT champion.
Yeah.
Because if you remember, they acknowledged his previous time in WWE, and I like the fact that they used that as part of the story, that Drew McIntyre came in, he was chosen by Vince McMahon, and he took it for granted and became arrogant, and that pushed him down. So he spent the world traveling, learning different styles, and growing as a wrestler. Then he comes back and he sees a lot of who he used to be in Bobby Roode. I liked that version of the storytelling. That and of course Bobby Roode did his usual thing of, I'm the only NXT is my thing. I am NXT.
Right.
And no one is good enough to be in my NXT thing. And it was a great competitive match, especially with Drew Drew is definitely not the person he was back when he was part of 3MB or when he was the Chosen One. He's definitely grown as a competitor, and especially with you and me seeing him in WCPW, you can see a bit of that version of Drew.
Did I tell you I almost caught a headbutt from him when I went to WCPW Leicester?
Yeah, you told me that you almost got headbutted by Drew.
Yeah, he came down on the guardrail right where I was sitting. I was leaning over it, had to move back sharpish.
Ouch.
No, he didn't get me. But...
Well, I like that they're not. He's changed his finisher as well. He's not really using the Future Shock DDT as much as he used to. He's using the Claymore, which I know it's just a running single leg drop kick. But one thing I liked about it was that he won, and Bobby Roode is gone. That's basically a thing. And then out come Red Dragon to pretty much be there. And this may just be my observation, but Bobby Fish is one ugly looking motherfucker, especially there. And then out comes the one person that everyone's been wanting to come out since the last takeover, Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah.
Debuts. He super kicks Drew, picks up the belt, puts it down, and it looks like the rumors of them building that NXT, that Ring of Honor stable in, because they acknowledged new ROH on screen. If you notice, Mauro Ranallo is back on NXT, and he did mention New Japan Pro Wrestling and ROH.
Right.
There's been rumors for a while that they were that Adam Cole was going to debut at some point, and they were going to stick him in a 4-man faction with Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. Former Ring of Honor guys, basically, and make a Ring of Honor stable. This is further implemented by... There was an extra bit on WWE.com where Bobby Roode was packing his bags to leave, and then Roderick Strong is there. I can't remember exactly what he said, but they were hinting at something. So, that was NXT TakeOver. We've got Adam Cole apparently going to be turning up. Now, I know he doesn't turn up on this episode of NXT because the main event of NXT this week is Tyler Bate and, Mustache Mountain reuniting to take on Pete Dunne and Wolfgang.
Right.
But then moving over to, I suppose we should move over to Raw now. That happened.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman showed us again why he's the guy in WWE at this point.
It was a decent Raw. The Miz cut a pretty good promo.
That's the thing, though. The Miz can cut a good promo, but I've noticed he's very hit and miss with it. He cuts a good promo, and then within weeks, he doesn't do anything similar. He just, lets it die down a bit and then jobs out for a little while.
I don't think this Miz Taraj thing is helping him.
Well, it's Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel now. I honestly think that Curtis Axel deserves better.
He does.
Bo Dallas has never been a success at anything. He wasn't even a successful NXT champion. The guy has never been a thing. He's always been the worst of the rotundas.
Well, I think he was a successful NXT champion as a heel because everyone got so fucking sick of seeing him that they booed him.
Well, I think it's a failure because he was meant to be a face. He was, the whole time he was the NXT champion, he was meant to be a face, and it didn't work because everyone fucking hated him. I think the first thing I saw about him was he seems like one of those Make-A-Wish kids who didn't die.
Oh, that's bad.
I know that is cruel, but ultimately he hasn't done well in anything he's done. He didn't do well he's the least successful member of the Social Misfits, if you don't count Adam Rose. Yeah, the Social Outcasts.
Nobody counts Adam Rose anymore.
Yeah, well, to be fair, it's fair, Ollie. He was a blink and you missed him kind of guy.
Adam Rose.
Yeah. Leo Kruger. God, remember when he was Leo Kruger and he did all kinds of weird things?
Yes, I do.
Oh, God. Well, yeah, Roman Reigns and John Cena did their bit. I mean, they've been hinting at that for a while. They brought up the Twitter war they had. They got John Cena got booed as expected, from everywhere he goes. Roman got booed even louder. There were chants of Undertaker throughout the night. The Miz got the best reaction out of everyone there. Then Samoa Joe came out and did his whole "I don't give a fuck, I'm your partner whether you like it or not."
Yep.
And I've suddenly got the image of Samoa Joe saying that to him backstage, getting in his face, and the Miz crying. I'm your partner now, whether you like it or not. Now bend over.
But you know what? People don't need the visuals, do they? I mean, it's not really... Right. Yeah, by the way, what time are we on? Right. Does it...
Let's see. Jack spoke about 20 minutes ago. His first comment was 20 minutes ago, so I'd say we are just under an hour.
Yeah, I think this is about podcast length, to be honest, so let's wrap this up. Raw was good.
About SummerSlam?
It was a decent fallout from SummerSlam, which was a kind of hit and miss pay-per-view with a great main event. Still not as good as TakeOver, though.
Yeah, TakeOver had a load of great matches. There wasn't really a throwaway or even a piss break match. Yeah, the traditional piss break match. There was every match was great, but NXT is a shorter show, so that can be forgiven. With a great follow up for the next few weeks with Adam Cole finally debuting. SummerSlam was a good show where a few things got burnt off. The pre-show, I will recommend for anyone who does decide to watch the pre-show, the tag team title match between the Usos and the New Day.
Didn't watch the pre-show, and I'm told I should have.
Oh my god, usually they put no effort into the pre-show at all. It's usually just, here's a bunch of throwaway matches. But the tag team match, there were so many near falls, and it went on for so goddamn long.
Yeah. I would have loved that.
The Usos won, sadly, but the thing is, there were so many near falls, so many great spots, and so many things. You'd think that this was going to be on a thing. I mean, hell, I feel
how did that
Miz
not make it onto the pay-per-view kind of thing?
I don't know. I don't know how it didn't make it on the pay-per-view, because it was definitely pay-per-view worthy. I mean,
don't know if you can have a go at me for not watching the pre-show, though. It's 6 hours, man.
I know. But
it's a lot of wrestling to absorb.
The cruiserweight title match that was just stupid. We've already given our thoughts on why we think that was stupid.
Yeah. Well, not that the match was stupid. I'm sure the match was.
Yeah. I'm sure
There
the
was
match
nothing wrong with the
okay,
match. It's
there
just
was no
why
point to
even
it.
have him lose it? What gets people over? What's got Asuka over as hell? Long title reigns.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, it's basically Neville's had that title for a while and basically killed everybody. What was the point in giving it back to him?
Yeah. I mean, that just...
I mean, the only other match was the empty arena match between the Hardys and Jason Jordan versus the Miztourage.
Oh, yeah, that's what that was.
I'm sorry, that's you. Yeah, it was basically an empty arena match because apparently nobody could get in.
WWE has no fans left.
They probably won't soon if New Japan continues its continued growth.
I've got to start watching that.
Well, from what I understand, Kenny Omega is the true wrestling god.
Nah, WWE having no fans left. The joke is made in good fun. WWE's better than it's been for a long time.
Look, look, I will just say this, and I've been meaning to say this for years. People will sometimes, you've run into those fans who say the Attitude Era was the best era of wrestling, and people have got to go back to that. The wrestling now is better than is better now than it ever was back then.
Yeah, I kind of think if you want WWE to go back to the Attitude Era, you just don't like wrestling an awful lot.
Look, I grant that the Attitude Era gave us some great characters and some some good wrestling sometimes, but ultimately it was full of stupid things. Just look at their entire women's division, look at how they treated the light heavyweight division, and just look at, some of the stars they had. Rikishi could only get over by wearing a thong and sticking his ass in people's faces.
Yeah, but we've gone off on a tangent.
We have. Well, let's go before I start ranting on Al Snow and the hardcore match he had against himself.
Yeah, or the Head and Shoulders spot.
The Head and Shoulders fucking hell, Attitude Era fucking booking. All I'm saying is that people right now be thankful for what you've got with Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles, and NXT. Because quite frankly, when we were growing up, we had to deal with people being pinned, with a mannequin head being pinned with a bottle of Head and Shoulders.
Yeah.
Let that sink in.
Yeah.
So,
You know what rivalry I'm going to miss just to cap it off?
what?
Shinsuke Nakamura versus Bobby Roode. I mean, the entrances, man.
Oh, now to be fair, they are on the same show together.
Oh god, they are, aren't they?
Yeah, Shinsuke is on SmackDown, Bobby Roode is on SmackDown. We may still get that. Hell, what you've got to remember, Ollie, is we might get Bobby Roode versus AJ.
Oh, yeah. Or Shinsuke versus AJ. I have said before...
Phenomenal versus Glorious.
Yeah. I have said before that if the next thing AJ does isn't a program with Shinsuke, they're wasting both guys. I don't necessarily still think that, because even though, my indifference to Jinder Mahal aside, I'm glad Shinsuke Nakamura is still in the title picture. Even if he's probably not going to win.
Well, we don't know. You never know. They might be building Shinsuke up. I mean, you never know. They might actually let Shinsuke have it. This might be a long-ass feud, because the next pay-per-view is No Mercy, and that's a Raw one, which means you've got loads more SmackDown to get through, which means they could build up Shinsuke up and get him a bit more over the audience. Because let's face it, Shinsuke has only been on SmackDown for 3 months or so.
Right.
He's only been there for Backlash, Money in the Bank, and that's it. I think he's been on maybe one more. He's only been there for 4 months of WWE programming.
Right.
So I'm just putting it out there that he may, in fact, they may just build him up and they may actually be able to make him the next face. Because really, what other face is there to take the title from him?
Yeah, I know. And
unless AJ Styles comes off, or they push Bobby Roode straight to the top. Well, that's very fucking unlikely.
Yeah, although Jinder Mahal was also very unlikely.
Damn. Logic trips us again.
Or the
Okay.
lack thereof, in some cases. Yeah.
God.
Anyway, on that bombshell, I think we'd better leave you. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast. We'll probably have Ian on at some point and do stuff like this again. Not always about wrestling, just about stuff. So,
Yeah.
yep. We'll see you next time. Bye.